Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by your local Ford store and Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. What's going on today, Chuck?
Just powering through. We got a game up in Hershey tonight that I'm obviously not going to be going to, but we will have our intrepid Phantoms reporter, Maddie Campbell, there on site.
Maddie Campbell
to cover it in person.
Headed to Hershey to cover tonight's game, so you know we have you covered. We're saying this at the Rookie Series. There isn't anyone out there who covers this team and its affiliate the way we do. We're up at the Rookie Series. We have a Phantoms reporter.
Daily show.
There's a daily show. I'm going to show you. I can't actually show you clips of a Frank BIALOWAS fight today, but trust me, it works. There's a reason for it.
Just close your eyes and imagine.
There's screenshots. But regardless, we have a lot to get to today. The Flyers have made some cuts. We have some funny comments from Sean Couturier to get to. I want to talk goalies, but right now, I got to tell you about the Big Brothers, Big Sisters month here. As September is winding down, there is still time for you to make donations to the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. The link is right below the chat box here on the YouTube page. It's very easy. You see a button that says donate now, click it, and boom, problem solved. You can do it. Or if you are so inclined, go to bbbs.org and see maybe if you're thinking about becoming a mentor, see maybe if it works for you, see what the program is all about, see what it takes to do it, be a one-on-one mentor, a big brother or big sister, and help the program that way. Either way, very good cause, and we are celebrating them here all month across the All City Network. All right, Chuck. Flyers cut 10 guys today.
They did.
Only like 2 of them I really want to talk about. But it's they return a couple of players. They assign a few players who I guess are waiver exempt to the AHL. It's Samu Tuomaala, Tucker Robertson, and Massimo Rizzo. They sent some AHL contract guys back: Sawyer Bolton, Cooper Marotti, Garrett Wilson, Zayd Wisdom,
and then goalies.
Yeah, and then some
goalies.
I'm
going to try to make you pronounce their names.
I looked at it. Keith Petruzzelli, I can say, and the other one, Yaniv Peretz.
I'd rather you not mess them up, so let's just say the goalies.
Okay, and some goalies. And Oscar Eklund is actually placed on waivers for the purpose of being sent down.
Yeah, he'll be sent down tomorrow, presuming he clears, which I can't imagine he won't.
Yes, that is. This is just something because I got it, and if I got it, maybe other people with the Elite Prospects app got it. I got like a little alert today, shortly after it was like announced they made the cuts, and it said Eklund rumored to be leaving Flyers. Now that could just as easily be like, yeah, they're sending him down, like he's on waivers, so it popped up. I have like all the Flyers players bookmarked, so I get alerts for them. But there's no, as far as you know, like he's actually just bailing back to Sweden or something.
I haven't heard anything like that.
Just curious.
That said, I can't say I spend much time concerning myself with the future of Oscar Eklund, so it's possible. Look, I thought it was weird that he signed a contract extension this summer with the Flyers because he very clearly showed nothing last year to tell me that he was in their NHL mix. So if this was a one last chance for camp and then maybe we'll find a way to kill the contract and you can go back to Sweden, it wouldn't blow me away. It's just I haven't heard anything.
Well, Eklund is one of the 2 guys I wanted to talk about for this reason. Is he actually like any good at all? Last year, it's his age 26 season, and it's his first year over here, but he scores 5 goals and 22 points in 64 AHL games. And the order in which they came is actually kind of insane. He scored 4 through his first 10 games last season. It's like, all right, maybe they have something here. An AHL guy, him and Abels both come over. Sure. Maybe they could get a little call up at some point. Not the best skaters, but maybe they're little details guys. And then he went 33 games without a goal, scored 1, then went the final 20 regular season games without a goal, and then he had 1 in 7 playoff games. Not everyone has to be a goal scorer, but I would just think like a 26-year-old coming over from another professional league might have a little bit more of an impact. Have you ever seen anything out of Oscar Eklund that makes you think like, Oh yeah, he might get a call up someday.
Not really. I remember at last year's training camp into the preseason, it was clear that there was a big difference between what Rodrigo Abels was doing on the ice in preseason games. We were like, yeah, he's doing some stuff. He looks like he can keep up. Maybe he'll get a shot. And Oscar Eklund, who looked like he was way behind. The Flyers 2 summers ago took a chance on both these guys. They took a chance on Abels, took a chance on Eklund. I think if you remember, I feel like there was more optimism about Eklund when they both signed because Eklund was younger.
Yeah.
He was a younger guy. You're like, maybe he's sort of a prospect. Abels is the guy out of the two who is establishing himself as at least an NHL-ish guy. Maybe this is the year he establishes himself as a full-time NHLer. Maybe he makes a team, maybe he doesn't. He's in the lineup for the 3rd straight game this week, so clearly Flyers are giving him a long look. But it's abundantly clear that out of those 2 guys, Abels is the guy that's sticking, that actually has a chance of carving out an NHL career. And Eklund, as I said, when I saw that he re-upped and he signed a 1-year deal with the Flyers this summer, my immediate response was just, why? Because there was nothing in his statistical track record, nothing in the eye test when I'd watched him that told me that, like, this guy is close to making the NHL. And the fact that he's involved in the first big round of cuts and never really got nor earned a look at camp with better players, it just confirms that.
Yeah, like the AHL guys on AHL contracts, not as shocked that they all got sent down. Bummer, we're not going to get to see Sawyer Bolton fight anybody.
I was kind of surprised they didn't at least give him 1 game.
Like the Montreal game when, both Jack guys are in there. I do feel like, though, there's like Florian Jack might play in the NHL one day. And there is a little bit of like, so you're dressing a tough guy against Nick Suzuki. Like someone's going to get hurt and this is unnecessary.
Fair.
Like there is a little bit of that, I think.
None of the AHL guys
None of the AHL guys matter.
They're not on NHL contracts. They were never going to make this team. I'm crossing my fingers that Zayd Wisdom can eventually earn himself an NHL contract again. He obviously had one before. Now he's on an AHL only deal. But I never expected that was going to happen in camp.
Massimo Rizzo, Tucker Robertson. I don't think there's a ton of surprise. The other guy I did want to talk about is Samu Tuomaala.
He's the most noteworthy one out of these 10.
Damn, he's just not in the plans. He played the first preseason game against the Isles, played 13 and a half minutes, basically 3rd line. No points, 1 shot on goal on 2 attempts, and 2 blocks and a hit. We were impressed with him in the rookie game, as we should have been. Like, he's 2 full AHL seasons under his belt, productive ones in the AHL. And it looked like, though, he was bringing a little more energy, a little bit more feistiness, winning battles, physicality, getting in scrums. But ultimately, nowhere near enough because he's sent back in the first week.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this is what surprises me. Not that he's sent back, because I didn't think he was making the team. But it's this early when
it's the earliness.
Kaplan, Dorwart, Gaucher, and Gendron are still here.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say, like, Dorwart is just coming back from an injury. But you're right. It's surprising to a degree.
He's in the first round.
That he's in the first round of cuts. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he gets moved for another guy in, like, our AHL or for AHL or deal at some point in the next month or so because it's just like, well, he doesn't fit anymore, so let's give him another look at another organization. I'm not yet ready to say the book is closed on Tuomaala because he could go down and have a great AHL season, and then midseason he gets a call-up. But I think personally, and this is just based on what I've seen over the last 2 weeks, I think the main reason why he went back as early as he did is because Alexei Gendron took his spot. Because I remember dating back to the rookie game, I thought to myself, watching Gendron, I know that Tuomaala had his moments in the 2 rookie games, but watching Gendron in the rookie camp and then watching Gendron at the start of camp, it seemed to me like Gendron is doing what they want Tuomaala to do. They both have the same high-end skills, which is they both are fast skaters and they both can shoot, and that's their plus skills. Gendron is playing a style that is more conducive to the bottom 6, whereas Tuomaala, they're trying to get him to do that.
Yeah.
But he's not picking it up as quickly or embracing it as easily as Gendron has at this camp. And I think that explains it. If Gendron had done nothing special, I think Tuomaala would still be here and Gendron would be in this first round of cuts. But instead, Gendron is impressed and Tuomaala hasn't done much. And Gendron kind of just took his spot.
And that can happen. And listen, internal competition is good. It pushes everybody. It's not as if Samu has been bad, but it's, hey man, someone's better than you. I appreciate that they're able to do this and kind of reevaluate where they were. And we said the other day, like, you know, Samu wasn't a Briere pick. Eventually, and I don't know if we're there yet, but eventually there will be a wave of guys who even pushes him further down. But it does seem like he's not really part of the, yeah, when we lose a guy in November, we're going to give you a call group. And we are still, like, some of those guys are still here.
I thought this was an opportunity. This camp was a big opportunity for Tuomaala to change the narrative around him, and instead he solidified it. He solidified the narrative that he is a prospect that is going on the outs in the organization. Not saying that the narrative that the final page has been written and the book is closed, but now he really has to excel in the AHL. You know, he might start the AHL season not playing every game, because they have a lot of young guys that are probably going to start the season in the AHL that need to play. Denver Barkey, Alex Bump if he doesn't make the team. Like, they have guys coming in that are going to need spots, and he might not start out the season playing every game, even though he was a high scorer for them last year. But when he gets his opportunities, he's got to kill it. And if he doesn't, well, he could get Wade Allison or J.R. Avon.
Yeah, I was thinking of Wade Allison, Ronnie Adder, J.R. Avon. Like, eventually, you have to make a decision on guys. Like, you can't just keep them in the organization forever. I mean, I guess you could, but it's like that spot could go to someone we do like.
Yeah.
Someone who could be called up, someone we do believe has a future, if not in our top 6, somewhere in the lineup. And that could very well happen with Tuomaala. But right now, it's just he needs to go and be even better than the guy he was the last couple of years.
Agreed.
So let's see, 23-24, he put up 15 goals, 43 points in the AHL in 69 games. Last year, 11 goals, 32 and 46. He needs to be a point-a-game player in the AHL.
I agree with that.
He needs to be the best player on that team.
Or if he's not a point-per-game player, he has to fully embrace the bottom sixer mentality the way that Scott Lawton.
He needs to do the Scott Lawton thing where it's like, yeah, man, you're skilled, but not enough.
Yeah.
You know, like, everyone's really good. It's the NHL. You need to bring something else too. And like, we saw it when Scott Lawton got chances to play in the top 6. It wasn't like he was overwhelmed. He did it. He was pretty good a few years, like being on like the second line with Kevin Hayes. It worked well.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he's made a career for himself as a bottom sixer. And if Tuomaala can't embrace that, probably, if he does have a future, not here.
Yeah. That's exactly my thoughts. And I wish him luck, because I do like the skill set. I think he's an intriguing player, but this is not a good sign for his future with the organization. Not that he got cut, not that he didn't make the team, but as you said, that he got cut this early.
They've played 2 games. He was in one of them. He played 13 and a half minutes of preseason hockey, and they were like, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
We got other guys we want to take a look at. And like, it's not as if I think anyone, maybe the organization would disagree, but like, Gaucher doesn't have a high ceiling. Maybe Kaplan and Dorwart do, and I just don't. Maybe I'm underrating them, but like, okay, you know. But they're still here. They could, and I don't expect any of them to, but they could theoretically, because they're still here, make the team.
Yeah.
Tuomaala can't. He's not here.
Yeah.
And I find that surprising, but also like, all right, this is the internal competition they were talking about.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah, and we're talking about a second-round pick who is seemingly getting jumped by players like Gendron. Gendron was a 7th-round pick, and Gendron is jumping Tuomaala. That does not bode well for his future with the Philadelphia Flyers, but he may get the opportunity to rewrite his story. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. The roster now stands at 42 players. Practice today, you said the game group didn't even take the ice.
They did not.
It
The
was
goalies did apparently, but
goalies
the
did, okay.
skaters did not.
I want to talk about, the other newsy item is Ethan Samson out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's a bummer. We, Jackie Spiegel and I from the Inquirer, we rewatched his final shift on Tuesday, and it does appear that he takes a hit up high, pushes him into the boards, and it looked like, based on our view of the video, it looked like he was kind of favoring his left arm after the hit, because that was his final shift. His final shift was at like the 6-minute mark of the 3rd period. He comes up kind of favoring his left arm. Looked to me like a shoulder. So 6 to 8 weeks. Look, Ethan Samson wasn't going to make this team. He was on our list of like guys who have to dominate in every preseason game. They have to have an amazing rookie camp. It was pretty clear by the start of training camp he wasn't going to make the team. But 6 to 8 weeks goes right into the start of the AHL season. And that isn't the best thing for a guy's development. You want him to get the full season. So it's a bummer because I thought Samson did show something in those rookie games where you're like, that skill set's interesting. And now he's going to get a late start of the year, which is a bummer.
2021 6th round pick. So it's like anything you get out of the guy is kind of, a bonus.
But he's
but
he's a big right-handed shot defenseman who can skate a bit.
Last season, look, his final year in the WHL, he put up 18 goals, 60 points in 60 games, and last year, his second year in the AHL, 12 goals, 24 points in 69 games. Maybe there was a little something there. 12 goals is pretty nice total, even in the AHL for a defenseman. So I've liked some things in his game that I'm okay, would like to see a little more, and we're not going to get that chance. So it's just kind of one of those, okay, you watch these preseason games, they are what they are a lot of the time, and Ethan's okay, let me see what Ethan does. He's not going to be out there.
And he's not dead. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks. No. He's going to play this year. Yeah, if he plays real well in the AHL, he might get a shot.
Season not over, but it does okay, it's one less thing to watch in the preseason games, and like you said, the development factor. We have seen it. It's a lot of times, like if a guy gets hurt training and then he doesn't have the summer, at least he had the summer and everything, but you want to get off to the start. We saw what happened with Jet Luchenko.
Yeah.
And it was, he bounces between leagues, then goes to World Juniors. But when you don't have your routine, you don't always get off to the best start. And that hurts your confidence. It hurts everything. It hurts your standing in the organization. So hopefully he's back and fine, but it's a little bit of a bummer. All right, with that, let's do it a little early today. We're going to talk goalies and power play on the other side. But first, it's time for a commercial break. I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor, our friends at Xfinity, because Xfinity is the ultimate sports destination. There's never any lagging, there's never any buffering, and there's no switching between apps because Xfinity has all your favorite teams and all the best games all in one place. That's what makes it the ultimate sports destination, and the way you watch is next level. You have the enhanced picture and sound with 4K. It is so clear, you feel like you're in the arena. Sometimes, just to show off, maybe you want to get the quad box going, because if you can watch 4 games at once, you want to watch 4 games at once. You want your place to be the place everybody gathers for football Sundays, for Red October, for all the fun of hockey and basketball season. You gotta get Xfinity. And not just all that, you can get real-time notifications and live stats right on your television so you can keep up with your fantasy teams, keep up with your props, and all of that. Make sure your place is the place to be. Make sure you're a big fan and not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires 4K capable TV box. And while we are here, it is time to tell you about Righteous Felon. We just got a huge delivery of Righteous Felon beef snacks and the sticks and everything. A few flavors that weren't in the last one that I've really, really been liking. The fiery habanero meat sticks are like my go-to. I have 1 or 2 every day. I am just pounding these things. We got this huge delivery, and they're like, this is going to last us forever. This is going to last like 6 weeks. I am just hammering these freaking things. The meat snacks that we got, where there's a lemon pepper, there's a dill that's really, really good. I have been really enjoying the all of the offerings of Righteous Felon. You got to check them out. They're freaking delicious. So you can grab all 4 flavors at righteousfelon.com. They have these great starter packs that you can get, or you can find the 2-ounce jerky bags. They're 2 for $10 at Wawa. And you can find them at Giant, Royal Farms, thousands of independent retailers. Righteous Felon, it's high protein, it's bold flavor, it's no BS. Check it out, and you can use code PHLY for 20% off at their website. It's really freaking good. All right, where do we want to go next? All right, so
where do we want to go next, William?
I want to do the power play thing.
Okay.
Because it all worked. Now, today is the birthday of my all-time favorite hockey player, Frank BIALOWAS.
It's also your birthday, William.
We share a birthday, part of the reason I love Frank BIALOWAS.
I love that for you. Happy birthday, William.
Thank you, sir. Brenda put out a tweet earlier, and I really appreciated that. She was like, it's Brenda jumping in because everyone knows I run the Twitter.
Yeah.
So it's like, everyone wish Bill a happy birthday because Bill demands it. I was happy, or maybe I did it and then just
Bill deserves it.
Plausible deniability. I said it was Brenna. Anyway, I wanted to play because, listen, I want to. A clip of a Frank BIALOWAS fight.
Okay.
And we can't play any game footage or anything.
Lame.
It's very annoying.
Lame.
It's like a VHS recording of a Phantoms game from 1998, and it's like there's commentary. It was on TV. We will get shut down by YouTube.
Right, we got to get the rights. Yeah.
The reason this all works though is that this particular fight was from game 1 of the 1998 Calder Cup final against the St. John Flames, and you know who his opponent was in the fight. St. John's tough guy himself, Rocky Thompson.
That's awesome.
Rocky Thompson and Frank BIALOWAS squared off in game 1. I think they had like 3 or 4 fights that year. They were just beating the crap out of each other nonstop. They had like 2 fights maybe in game 1.
It's such a bummer that Rocky Thompson wasn't a good assistant coach, because we could have had him on the show and talked to him about the Frank BIALOWAS connection. That would have been a lot of fun.
It would have been. It really would have been. And that would have been my in to finally get to freaking talk to Frank BIALOWAS. But anyway, Rocky, I just had to look this up. In that 97-98 season, he put up 187 PIMs in 51 AHL games. And he got a 12-game NHL stint with the Calgary Flames. 0 points, 61 penalty minutes in 12 games.
Rocky was a tough MFer.
He was a bad dude. But the reason I thought this all works is because we got quotes from Captain Coots today. I also wanted to fit that in, quotes from Captain Coots, in which he talked about the struggles of the power play of late. It has been a long-standing problem for this team. Rocky Thompson, of course, coached this team's power play. Coots said, "It was almost like the last couple of years, guys were scared to make plays and get pulled off the power play. It's not quite, I think, the mentality or philosophy you want to have going into a power play and trying to score a goal when you're scared to make plays." I just remembered you had the actual recording. I'm so dumb.
Do we want to play it?
Yeah,
let's play it.
Let's actually play it, because you
it.
put the work in.
It was almost like if, last couple of years, guys were scared to make plays and get pulled off, where it's not quite I think the mentality or the philosophy you want to have going into a power play and trying to score a goal when you're scared to make plays. So,
because look, I don't love to play the trying to interpret what someone's intentions are game too much, but I feel like you can see Sean Couturier holding back like a grin while he's saying that. Like, you know what he's getting at. You know exactly who that's directed towards. And it is the person he's been throwing a lot of shade towards during this training camp. One John Tortorella.
I find it entertaining, and ultimately it's harmless, and it seems like the locker room is just in a better place now. At a certain point, we might have to let this go.
Like, someday.
But listen, he is the longest tenured athlete in the city, and he and the entire locker room were very offended at the way Sean was treated.
You know what I think
at periods during the Tortorella tenure.
You know what I think part of it might be, and I do believe that this was a point of contention that wasn't brought up directly to Tortorella, but it was an issue that the players had. John Tortorella had a tendency in the media to position things that happen to the team because of individual players to be because of things he did. Like, for example, the Cam York thing of, well, he got better because I sent him down and I pushed him and then he wanted to say F you to me. That stuff annoyed the players. And I think some of this is a little pent up from Couturier and some of the other guys of like, we've been wanting to say for so long that like some of this stuff was Torts' fault and we couldn't before, and now we can. And I think given everything they had to eat over the last 2 to 3 years under Tortorella, maybe we cut them a little bit of slack and let them have their time where they can throw their little not so veiled shots at the guy.
Charlie, I said we're maybe going to have to eventually get over it. I'm fine with it right now. One, what the hell else are we going to talk about? Like we need another game. We need something to happen. We need the season to start. Also, if this is the way they feel, I'm never gonna. And I think Elliot Friedman says this all the time. If we are constantly bashing hockey players for having no personality and only speaking in cliches and just going, yeah, we got to get pucks deep and get shots on net and get good changes. And then someone says what they think and we criticize them for it. That makes us a-holes. Yeah. We can't have it both ways. We're in the media. We are, but we need to be a little less maybe. This brings it all to what the power play did under Torts and Rocky. The last 3 seasons, this is, of course, my favorite stat of all time in the history of the sport. They're 98 for 693, 14.1% over the last 3 seasons. Now, there are only 32 teams in the league, but because Utah and Phoenix, or Utah and Arizona, are separate entities, the Flyers actually rank 33rd out of a 32-team league in power play over the last 3 years. It's that freaking bad. But I do want to point out, to be fair, we've had a lot of fun at Rocky Thompson's expense. The power play in 21-22, the year before Torts and Company showed up, was at 12.1%, dead last. So it's not as if they were good and he made them bad. It's just they remained awful. They remained awful under him. And coincidentally, the 1.1% that they were behind the next lowest ranked team in 21-22 is the exact amount over those 3 years. They're 1.1% behind the Ducks at 32. I just find the difference is exactly the same between coaching staffs. We're hoping it's new coaches and Zegras and Michkov can get this thing figured out. But it's been bad for a while. I think I might have a new favorite stat, though, Charlie. Okay. I've been using this 33rd one for a while. Let's hear it. I looked up, just out of morbid curiosity, individual player power play numbers. Okay. Over the last 3 seasons, there are 9 players in the league with more power play points individually than the Flyers have scored power play goals. 98 power play goals for the Flyers. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and up 99 or more power play points in that time. That's almost unbelievable. Yeah. And then there's a whole bunch of guys. I think Stamkos Marner at 96, and then Stamkos and a bunch of guys at 94. There's 17 dudes with 90 or more power play points in this time. The Flyers haven't cracked 100 power play goals in 3 years. I found that very interesting. They were at 14.5% last year, ahead of 2 teams somehow. What's an acceptable improvement this year? Because, okay, we can blame Rocky and maybe the personnel has improved and all this. We've been talking about league average for a while. If they could just be not even league average, just not horrendous, that would be great. What do you think is actually an acceptable improvement this year?
It's tough to say, but it better be better. Obviously, it shouldn't be this bad. The thing that I look at when I see those stats, talking about the individual player numbers, it's more. It jumps out at me just how good the best power plays have gotten over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and how the Flyers have just been left in the dust. That's the reason why the Flyers have trouble scoring goals. They are not an elite 5-on-5 scoring team, but they're not terrible. 2 years ago, they were an elite shorthanded scoring team. The big thing that was holding them back offensively has been the power play, and it's been that way for a while. One of the big reasons why scoring is up across the league is because the power plays have gotten better and the Flyers have stayed not just meh, but arguably have gotten even worse. They've become less effective, even as that number for Kucherov being nearly 150 points. He's averaging 50 points a year. That's in 3 seasons.
Yeah, this is only 3 years. He's got 50 points is more than everyone but 2 guys had for the Flyers last year. He gets that per season on the power. Just power play.
Just on the power play.
Just power play.
Just on the power play. So that's the big thing that jumps out at me for that. Now, how much does the Flyers power play need to get better? I don't know. Ideally, it would be 25%, 30%. Sure. I'm not expecting that. I'd like to see it at 20.
But to your point, 20 used to be, man, if you can be 1 for 5, that's great. If you can be 1 for 4, you're elite. 21 teams were at least 20% last season. All but 4 teams were over 17.5%. The Flyers being so low is unfreaking believable. How bad they've been. I guess it's comparable to the goaltending thing.
Yeah.
Like, we just need you to not be the worst.
Yeah.
To not be 12, 14, 15%. We need you, like, last year they're at 14.5. 28 teams are at 17.5 this year, or last year. If they go up 3% and they are in the top 28, is that enough?
No.
Right?
No,
It's not.
I think my thing is like, what is enough is always going to be relative, because
Sure.
if they get better, then that's good. It's good that they get better. It's good that they improve 3-4 percentage points. But is it enough? No, it's not enough, because the goal here is to win a cup. The goal here is not to have the 20th ranked power play. The goal here is to have a top 5 ranked power play, because as you see by those, the names on that sheet, you've got Kucherov, you've got McKinnon. Okay, well, Toronto is its own separate thing. But my point is that you've got guys that win cups. You've got McDavid, who's been to the cup the last 2 years, the cup final the last 2 years. Like, you've got Makar, you've got Rantanen, who's a playoff god. Like, this is how you make the playoffs every year and then win games and series in the playoffs, and in some of these guys' cases, win actual Stanley Cups. The Flyers are not going to win the Stanley Cup this year. I think we can all agree with that. So they don't have to be a 25, 30% power play team next year. But at some point, we want them to get there, especially when they have a guy like Michkov, who's the guy we all name as his top, like, ideal comparable. It's the guy at the top of the list, Nikita Kucherov.
Yeah, and that's listen, I do think they weren't dead last year simply because they added Matvei Michkov. Like, that, it was good for a couple percent. And also some teams having historically bad years. That's up there too.
Yeah, that plays up there.
Now, this is, I guess, part of the real question. Like, how much of this is on the coaches and how much of it is the players? Because now the players are free of Tortorella and Rocky Thompson, who they are blaming for this, at least in part. Like, how much do you think the coaching was actually holding them back?
It's a fascinating question. I mean, I'm sure that based on everything I have seen, Rocky Thompson was not a good power play coach. But I do think it's worth discussing about the Torts impact, because that's exactly what Sean Couturier said. I mean, Sean Couturier's point more or less was, guys can't be successful on a power play if they're playing scared, because they're afraid they're going to get pulled off the power play when they make a mistake. Or, and I know this for a fact, or they're afraid if they make a mistake at 5-on-5, they're going to get pulled off the power play, because John Tortorella has historically used the power play as reward for doing what he wants them to do at 5-on-5. So the power play became less of this is important in and of itself, and it became more part of Tortorella's mind games. I'm not absolving Rocky Thompson here. He did not do a good job teaching. He did not do a good job breaking down other teams' penalty kills, a good enough job at least. He did not do a good enough job coming up with creative ways for them to score goals and create chances. He did not. But
to Coots' point, like, it's not even so much the X's and O's, it's the overall environment that John Tortorella creates is what we can read from those quotes.
Yes, exactly. And I think it's an intriguing idea, because it's not necessarily one that you can prove. Like, you really can't prove that this was Tortorella's fault. But I do know that there's a guy in our Discord who's been a regular for pretty much since the start, this guy Chad. He's been banging the drum for the last 2 years that John Tortorella's power plays are never good. That, yes, he's not the one who coaches the power play, but his power plays are never good. They've rarely been good throughout his entire tenure. And honestly, he's not wrong, because you look at these numbers. This is going all the way back to the start of the millennium, okay? Flyers, 30th, 32nd, 32nd. Okay, you can say, whatever, Flyers didn't have a lot of talent. That's not all on Torts. Columbus, 27th, 27th, 28th, 25th, 12th, 21st. You got one in the top half, but everything else, bottom half, a lot of those bottom 5, 6, 7 power plays in the league. You can say, well, Columbus, not
some guys,
not
but
that talented
not
either.
A unit of it's not the Kucherov Lightning.
Exactly, not that talented either. Yeah, they had Panarin and they had Werenski, but it wasn't stacked top to bottom. Vancouver with the Sedins, 26th.
Yeah.
Then the Rangers, okay? Maybe in the beginning they didn't have a lot of talent, but final few years, they were starting to get talent. They were getting Gaborik. Guys were getting better. 22nd, 23rd, 18th, 13th. Okay, that's all right. 29th. You really have to go all the way back to end time Tampa for the last time that a Torts coach team had a top 10 power play when the 2007-2008 Lightning were 5th, and then the year before that, they were 9th. We're talking about like nearly 20 years ago. That does make you wonder if this is a Torts thing, not because he's telling them you have to do it in this way, but because of the mind games that he plays. Does that have a negative effect on the power play? It might.
I'm just looking at that 04 Tampa team being like dead middle. I mean, this is a 30-team league. It might be it's a 30-team league at the time.
Yeah.
They're in the back half. We saw them up close for 7 games. That was a team of monsters.
And they did get hot on the power play in the playoffs.
Yeah, of course they did.
Yeah.
Of course they did. But like, how does LeCavalier and St. Louis and Richards and all these dudes not have a top half of the league power play? That's kind of insane. And that's 2 decades ago. But you look at what's happened in Philly and Columbus, and the Vancouver one is like, how? The Sedins were made for the power play.
Yeah.
They were like formed in a lab to perform on the power play. And yeah, that's... So
I don't think it's.
I guess there's something to it.
Like, I don't think it's a smoking gun, but it definitely raises your eyebrows. And then when you hear comments like the one that Coots gave today, you start to think, is it that simple? Is it? Because I kind of scoffed at it for a while because I'm like, well, he's not coaching the power play. How much of an impact is he really having? Yeah, maybe he's guiding the overarching philosophy, but he seems like a guy who wants his coaches to coach, wants his assistant coaches to have power. However, I do believe he used power play time as a carrot, which probably hurt continuity, where he's pulling guys off the power play right when they're about to have chemistry because, I don't know, Travis Konechny turned a puck over in the first period of game 11 of the season and Torts got mad. That could have been part of it. And the other part of it just was guys are afraid to make mistakes on the power play. It could have been that simple. They're afraid they're going to get benched if they turn the puck over and then it turns into a shorthanded goal and then they never see the ice again. Maybe that's how a Tortorella power play tends to not be as good as other power plays. It could be simple as that.
I want to look up real quick just power play time on ice. Like, how many different guys did they actually use last year? Like, there's so many. Guys with at least like 50, 54 minutes. There's 13. Like, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of shuffling in and out, and it's a lot of, all right, get the first unit off fast. They did that sometimes where it's like one whistle and okay, here comes the second unit. And like, it just does feel like, as much as I do want to blame the players a little bit, like, I don't know, score more.
It's on them, to be sure.
Yeah, you have more guys than the other team. Go make a play.
Yeah, we're not absolving the players.
And the X's and O's, like, how much of it we were just like, move your feet. Why is everybody standing still? Again, there's more of you than them. They will get lost in coverage if you just move around, and they wouldn't. The idea that the overall environment of afraid to make a mistake, it's so funny because he's such a contradictory character, John Tortorella.
It's a complicated man, a complicated coach.
On one hand, like, it's a funny quote, but it is like, on one hand, he's the no risk it, no biscuit guy, safe as death. And on the other, if you do take a risk and it doesn't pan out, you're benched. Like, that's yeah, man. We want Michkov to be like, he said a year before he got here, we're changing to a rush base offense because we want to take advantage of what this guy does, and wingers are flying the zone a little on the weak side, and we're gonna try to.
And they did do that at 5-on-5. They did do that.
They did it.
Their 5-on-5 systems were pretty darn good.
If it was a bad read, like, listen, Michkov, yes, I don't think he should have been benched for whole periods, whole games. That was asinine. But especially a rookie, he's gonna get it wrong sometimes, and to then be like, well, gotta sit now. That probably to everyone else, when it's like, this guy is the only one on the team who can score. I'm not that good. If I make a mistake, how am I? Like, I'm never going to see the ice again. I can see that being an issue. I actually, as much as it's like, I blame the players, I blame Rocky, I can see the overall environment. Coots' quotes hold up to me a little.
Yeah, and one point I do also want to make about, because we are guilty also of taking a quote like Sean Couturier and saying that, like, well, man, they really must have hated John Tortorella. And to be clear, I do think that by the end, everyone was exhausted with the John Tortorella experience.
Certainly.
And there certainly were individual players who were very much not fans of John Tortorella, Sean Couturier and Cam York being at the top of the list, but they were not the only ones. That said, there were other players who liked playing under him, who felt like, I mean, even Travis Sanheim, who he was friends with a lot of guys who actively disliked John Tortorella, but I think his thought process was, look, he was a real jerk to me in the first year, but I'm a better player because of it. So he had mixed feelings about Torts. I suspect somebody like Noah Cates probably generally liked Torts. So it wasn't universal. But like when it's your captain who had so much of an issue with the coach that he's still talking crap about him, like that is going to filter throughout the room.
That's the thing that's always like the number one thing that's maybe bothered me about Torts, because I did enjoy most of his tenure and I do think there were good things. The number one thing that's bothered me is like you named him captain and then the relationship was bad for the next year and a half. Like, how does that work? You have to go out of your way for that to be the case.
And
it
did.
Seems like he really did.
He did.
I mean, he benched him a month later.
Yep.
Man, we're going to look back on this and laugh one day, Charlie.
I'm laughing at it now.
I mean, it is really freaking funny. It's just, do I have like, what's going on? Is that like a light bulb? It looks like I have an idea behind me. I just noticed it on the screen.
Oh, it's the gold medal.
Oh, it's a gold medal.
Gold medal.
Okay, it looked like a light bulb over my head. I just noticed.
He's got an idea. He's got an idea, folks.
Thoughts. It's time for a break. Yeah, let's take our second break and then talk goalies on the other side. Get your home ready for cozy season during Ashley's Fall Savings event. It's happening now. You got to discover the season's warmest and coziest hot buys for every room in your home. From stylish living rooms to welcoming dining rooms to relaxing bedrooms, you'll find beautiful looks starting at just $299. And right now, buy today and pay later with no interest for 60 months, because fall isn't just a season, it's a feeling. Visit your local Ashley showroom and start saving today. Restrictions and exclusions may apply. And now I have to tell you about our friends at Ace Hardware Home Services, because if you have a leaky faucet, if you have an air conditioning issue, if you have a heater issue, if you have a plumbing issue, whatever it is, you got to go to our friends at Ace Hardware Home Services, because now Ace isn't just the helpful hardware folks. They're the helpful home service and repair folks. They've got everything from plumbing and electrical to heating and cooling. They have trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. At Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door, from Philly to the Jersey Shore. Visit our Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. And just in case you needed a little reminder, you got to get your home ready for cozy season during Ashley's Fall Savings event, happening now. Discover the season's warmest and coziest hot buys for every room in your home. From stylish living rooms to welcoming dining rooms to relaxing bedrooms, you'll find beautiful looks starting at just $299. And right now, buy today, pay later with no interest for 60 months. Because fall isn't just a season, it's a feeling. Visit your local Ashley showroom and start saving today. Restrictions and exclusions may apply.
All right, before we continue on our discussion of the complicated man, complicated coach, John Tortorella, hit that like button. We're at 134. I think we can get to 200 by the end of the show. We got nearly 20 minutes left. I think we can do it. Definitely blast past 150.
I think that last ad read was worth 20 likes by itself.
By itself.
All right.
So going back to Torts,
yeah,
though,
more Torts.
like I don't want to...
When do we stop talking about Torts?
When guys stop making comments very clearly directed about John Tortorella.
A fair point.
But I do want to make the point that while it's very clear that he was not the best at managing all of his player relationships, and perhaps it had negative impacts on certain parts of the team, such as the power play, I don't think his tenure was all bad. I really don't.
Definitely.
I think the 5-on-5 play got dramatically better in terms of overall quality. I think that the move towards more of a rush-based offense was the right move for that time.
For the personnel, absolutely.
And going back to not last season, of course, but the year before that, that was not a good hockey team on paper that got all the way to game 82. So I don't want to act like the entirety of Torts' tenure was a waste of time. I think some guys have gotten significantly better, Travis Sanheim being an obvious example. Some guys, Noah Cates is another example, got significantly better under John Tortorella, took strides. So I don't want to act like it was all bad, but it does seem like it had run its course.
It's funny because we always like you think of Torts and you think of him as a short shelf life guy, like a Peter Laviolette, demanding and comes in and you're good and then he's got to go. But other than that Vancouver stint, like you look at, you showed those power play numbers. He was with so many teams for so long. Like he was so many places. And here it was, and I do think it's probably, listen, it's a new generation of guys. The Cam Yorks of the world weren't in the league in 2004, you know? But he really wasn't. Yeah, like look how long he was in each place. The Rangers, Columbus, like the 3 years here is his second shortest stint by far. I find that interesting because you think of him as a short shelf life guy, but he really hasn't been until now.
Yeah, I also think too that one of the things that ultimately did play into why the Flyers' tenure was shorter than others is that ultimately, at its core, he wasn't Danny's choice.
Yeah.
He wasn't Danny's hire. Like, this was Chuck Fletcher's hire and the old Comcast regime's hire. Now, they didn't want to fire Tortorella right away. Dan Hilferty, I think, does sincerely have a lot of appreciation for what John Tortorella brings to the table. But generally speaking, general managers like to hire their own coach. And John Tortorella, there are some coaches that maybe you keep around because they're very easy to deal with. And then you grow to decide that, no, he's my guy. John Tortorella is not the type that you're going to say, yeah, I am, like, unless you're winning championships, where you're going to say, you know what I want to do every day for 365 days? Deal with that guy.
It's very, and I know everyone loves our cross-sport comparisons, but like as soon as the Patriots get bad, Robert Kraft is like, please be done.
Yeah.
Like, we are so done with you, Bill, because you're like, this is a constant. And I don't think, like, I think Bill Belichick probably demanding, probably idiosyncratic, but I don't think he's as outwardly angry all the time and annoying as maybe John Tortorella may have been.
But he's a jerk.
Yeah. Like,
Belichick is a jerk.
100%
Absolutely.
a jerk.
And I think with Belichick, it's not an apples to apples comparison, as you said, but
he won all the time.
The bargain you made with Belichick as players was, I'm going to be miserable all year, but you're going to get me that ring.
There's going to be a huge party at the end.
And that's why guys would come to the Patriots, even just for a season. They'd be like, yeah, I know it's going to be miserable playing for Belichick, but it's going to be all worth it in the end when we're lifting that Lombardi. Torts hasn't won a title in 20 years, so he didn't have that going for him.
All right, because we were just talking about Torts, I just want to real quick, because there's a funny quote in it, talk about this NHL.com story about Tortorella on Mike Sullivan's Olympic coaching staff.
Somebody finally got him on the record to talk about it. Yeah,
and it's just very funny because Mike Sullivan says when asked about it and what kind of role Torts is going to play, because Torts is a controversial guy and probably likes being in charge. But Sullivan, who is a longtime friend of Torts, says, I said to him, I would like you to take on a different role than you are as a head coach. I don't want you to be the hammer. I'll be the hammer. I want you to be the wise old man. I want you to reveal yourself to the players and the other coaches. I want you to show the John Tortorella that I know, that my wife knows, that my kids know, that your kids know, that you don't show the world very often. And I said, if you can bring that to this staff and our team, I think you're going to be a tremendous value. And that's what he did, talking about at Four Nations. And Tortorella, his reply, when they give him this quote, tell Sully to F off. he didn't censor himself. I have to censor this. Tell Sully to F off. Tortorella says he took exception to the word old. He'd rather call himself experienced. And I just find that hilarious. Like, it's all this stuff, like, this heartfelt, like, I want you to be the John Tortorella that, my wife knows and your wife knows, and use your wisdom to bring these players together. And Torts is just like, nah, F you. What do you mean I'm old? Like, he was the oldest coach in the league, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Now I believe it's Lindy Rupp.
Okay. I just found that funny.
The really interesting quotes coming out of that story, though, is when he was talking about his exit, his ouster from Philadelphia. And it seemed like the thing that bothered him the most. And I honestly, I respect this because I do agree that, like, the York stuff, that was not taken out of context. That is what it was. I think too much was made about the comments in Toronto. The comments about like, I don't want to learn how to coach this way. I don't think he meant that the way that a lot of people in the media presented it as. Like, he meant it as, this is miserable, and like, I have to pull back on the reins more than I'm used to and more than I like to, because I know we have no chance of winning, and I don't really want to coach that way, but I guess I have to. And it was presented, and Torts says this is like, do I want to coach again? Yeah, I heard a couple NHL coaches accuse me of quitting on the team. Did I quit on the team after those comments I made in Toronto? I haven't quit on an effing thing in my life. Those comments were totally taken out of context. And I agree with that. I don't think that was fair to Torts. That said, the York incident on its own probably warranted something.
You're threatening the career of Cam York, then it's like, this has gotten personal. And you always choose player over coach. Don't care who the coach is, because you're going to fire the coach one day anyway.
And he more or less said, he talks about his first quote about the getting fired is, it really surprised me. General manager Danny Briere and I did have some disagreements on discipline of a player. Has some disagreements the last few weeks of that season. That's all been reported. Seems like without saying the name Cam York, he's saying the name Cam York. But there were other things going on, too, that him and Danny were butting heads on over that month.
The quotes in Toronto, I always thought and I thought we did a good job with it, just kind of presenting, this is what's being said about it. This is what we think about it. I thought a lot of it was being willfully obtuse from the media, because, like, you know what he means. Not you, the royal you. You know what he's saying. Like, I hate losing.
Yeah.
And this is a rebuilding team. This sucks.
Yeah.
You knew that's what he meant, but because it's John Tortorella, it's got to be a controversy. I thought that part was absolutely fair for him to take umbrage with, because you had to, I think, maybe not everybody. Maybe I'm overestimating it and whatever, but like, I hear that and I'm not like, well, he quit. Like, that's not at all what I hear when I heard that quote.
It was worded poorly, definitely.
Sure.
And it was worded in a way that if you wanted to take it that way, you could. And it was also because there were rumblings behind the scenes of, hey, there's some discontent here. And then you have the York stuff come out and it all kind of coalesces together in, well, obviously he's just done with this crap. I do agree with him that those comments were taken out of context. That doesn't mean it was the wrong thing to let him go.
Oh, no, it was the right move. Again, like when the Cam York stuff happens, it's like, okay, this is over. It's like you said, it's time to move on. This chapter is closed. The Tortorella chapter is closed. I mean, not for us, but for the team and their relationship, it absolutely was.
All right, before we end the show, we do have a game tonight.
We have a game.
There is a preseason game tonight in Hershey. We have the lines because they were, as I theorized yesterday, they were the lines from Group A of the practice session from Wednesday. So we've got a lot of players in this game battling for spots. That first line, we've got Alex Bump. Second line, we've got Nikita Grimenkin and Jet Luchenko. They're playing with Owen Tippett, so that's interesting. That third line, you've got Denver Barkey, Jack Nesbitt. These are two guys that probably aren't going to make the team, but hey, they're getting a look. And then you've got Rodrigo Abels making his third start of the week. It's Thursday, and he's now going to have played 3 hockey games since Saturday in 5 days. That's a lot. I'm curious to see how he holds up after that. And then on defense, we've got Grons, we've got Jennings, we've got Gilbert and Juleson.
We've got the Gilbert and Juleson pairing.
This is a big game for guys trying to make their cases to make the club.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a pretty. No Mish is always a bummer, but this is a pretty good lineup, and it's an interesting lineup. Like you were saying, guys in different points battling for different things, whether it's Jennings and his standing in the organization, or Barkey trying to make people think that, oh yeah, maybe I don't need 2 years in the AHL, bro. And then, like Bump, Gribenkin, Luchenko all fighting for spots, Kaplan fighting to stay here, Gaucher fighting to stay here, Delorier fighting. That just came.
He probably will fight. That was good. He probably will fight tonight.
That came to me when I realized I already said fighting 3 times. I was like, well, get it again.
He's probably going to fight.
So those are the lines and pairings. Interesting game. And I like that they're doing this in Hershey. I think that's cool. Go up to the Giants Center. It's the Caps affiliate. It used to be the Flyers affiliate. Local-ish for both teams, but it's a road game for both teams. The thing I want to talk about tonight, though, is the goaltending. Dan Vladar is only playing the first period, as reported by Charlie O'Connor today. And he says, and Tocchet said that it's only going to be the first period, just like Ersson on Tuesday. That's an organizational plan meant to help the two goalies be ready for the start of the year. They'll get full games next week. So, like we talked about yesterday, probably no grand conspiracy, a miscommunication.
I would guess
this is the organizational plan.
I would guess it was a miscommunication. It was a situation where Tocchet maybe didn't fully understand what the goalie plan was. Figured, well, Ersson's starting, so I guess he's playing the whole game, and then was probably told after, like, nah, he's only getting one period. Vladar's only getting one period. But the interesting part about this, though, is just like Abel's, in the sense of he's getting his third game in 5 nights, Alexei Kolosov is the backup. It's not like Bjarnason's the backup. Kolosov is going to be playing 2 periods in 3 games in 5 days. That's a lot of workload for Kolosov.
Do you think this is part of, maybe they're just like, let's see what he's got, and this is the organization, but do you think maybe this was part of the, hey man, we're going to get you time in the preseason to show us what you have, and if you blow away the other two, who says you can't win a spot? Like, not that it's true, but maybe part of the getting him to go to the AHL thing. I wonder about things like that.
It could. I asked Tocchet today about that, about, hey, why is Kolosov getting so much time? His answer was basically, number 1, I've liked what I've seen in him. He's looked good. Number 2, next week is almost going to be entirely the NHL goalie, so let's get him as much time as possible.
If they are going to be ramping up for the regular season, if they're going to be getting full games, that means he won't.
Right.
Like that, it's simple as that. I have one question, and I know we have like 5 super chats. One question about Vladar. You and I both think the idea is probably to lessen Ersson's workload, or at least spread it out more evenly. So it's not like, oh, every game for a month because there's no one else. And then, oh, wow, he's hurt. Can't believe it. Shocker. But like Ersson is still, even if it's a more even distribution, he's still the number 1 in our minds. That's how you feel as well?
I think so. But next week, if Vladar's real good and Ersson's a mess,
okay,
could change.
That is what I wanted to ask.
Yeah,
Do you think there's something like in season? Yeah, because the coach is going to try to win games, and that is the mandate. Be better than last year. He's going to ride the hot goalie. There is something in camp that could change this organizational philosophy. If it is, it's just how we perceive it. But you think he could actually, like, Vladar goes out, throws a couple shutouts, and Ersson is just like Vladar could start game 1?
I think so. I think that's a legitimate possibility. Look, Tocchet's in the business of winning games.
Oh, I'm all for it. I just kind of was wondering if they're just still so high on Ersson and believe him. You know, he's younger. We see something in him. We think there's more there. If it's we're sticking with this plan, or we're trying to be better. But I like that. I like that there is internal competition.
Yeah, I think so. I think Ersson has a leg up. Like, yes. I'm not envisioning a scenario where, let's say, Ersson finishes the preseason with a 901 and Vladar finishes with a 904, and it's like, well, Vladar won the competition.
Yeah.
But if Vladar looks sharp and Ersson doesn't,
I think it has to be a dramatic difference, definitely. But I wondered even then, but I like that there's competition.
I think so.
All right, let's hit those super chats. We have a few today, and they're not all from Adam S. That's a change. JH reporting on the Connor McDavid free agency number. We're at 279 days.
Hey,
all right.
Does this every day in the Discord.
Can't wait, baby. Connor McDavid, future Flyer. All right, from our pal Crud Muddler, one of my favorite names. Happy birthday, Bill. Thank you very much. May your upcoming year be filled with the finest muddled crud. That's great.
It's a wonderful birthday
That's
greeting.
really, really thank you. From Patrick McDonald. McDonald. Okay. Happy birthday from Central PA, Bill. We'll be in the Giants Center tonight, hoping to see Michkov and Zegras.
Unfortunately, you will not be.
I'm sorry,
Patrick.
I'm sorry that will not be the case. However, I hope you have a great time regardless, and maybe we see some bumping Grabenkin and Luchenko magic.
Maybe.
The next wave of awesome dudes. All right, this first one here from Andrew Neitz says, Charlie, are you heading to Pool Kids tonight?
I do love Pool Kids. They are playing in Philly, but I have to do work, unfortunately, so I'm going to miss them. I don't like talking about it because I do really like Pool Kids. Great band, do really like the new record, but unfortunately, I got to watch the preseason game and write about it. What are you going to do?
You do have a DVR. You also don't want to be up till 4 a.m. writing. I understand.
Fair.
I understand. Charlie, quite the professional, as he always is. All right, and that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already, got to hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the YouTube. And hit the like. We're at 193. Come on.
So
You have a
close.
minute. You have a minute
So
to get us
close.
to 200. All right, make sure you're following us on all the socials. We're at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter. And make sure you follow the podcast as well. Just search PHLY Flyers. That'll do it for us. I am Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Thank you to Brenna. Be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.